All right. Brian Powell of Iron Far here with Bethany Lewis before the 2016 Hardrock 100. How are you, Bethany?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. This is going to be your first Hardrock 100.
Yep. I can't believe it. Yeah.
Are you pretty excited?
Yeah. Pretty nervous, but pretty excited as well.
So a lot of people might not know you. We haven't interviewed you before.
Nope.
We have had an article by you before in 2011 when you set the Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim record.
It's a while ago.
Still stands.
Yeah, surprisingly, but yeah.
Pretty good testament to your run down there.
I guess so, yeah.
Since then you've run a lot of races and run a bunch of sort of 100-mile plus events, winning the Bear, Wasatch, Fat Dog. It's a pretty good lineup. Do you feel real strong and confident at 100 miles at this point?
I think you have to be humble in any 100, but I have to say Fat Dog last year has kind of made me feel, well, solidified some confidence in the 100-mile distance. That was just such an epic that having conquered that, I feel a little bit more secure coming into Hardrock, but still not totally.
And how was it? What made Fat Dog last year?
It was a combination of the weather and going at it last minute and having nobody there to help me. So I was completely on my own the whole time. And the weather was just epic the entire time. And then I suffered, I tore a muscle. And so I was limping for 30 miles of it as well. So I kind of suffered through, I think, most things that one person can suffer through in 100 miles. And still had a fabulous, phenomenal experience there.
So if things go wrong at Hardrock, you've gone through some adversity in a very long race.
Yeah, you know, my other hundreds, well, that's not true. So the Bear was pretty adversity free. It doesn't often go that way. Wasatch was sort of a struggle one after the other, but it wasn't serious struggles. It's more mental. Fat Dog was everything thrown at me, and I came out on top on that one. So it did make me feel a lot more confident coming in here.
Now you've had success, I mean, obviously with the Grand Canyon record, you know, you've won Speed Goat, Hemes 50, Zane Grey. Like, do you feel that you have any particular specialty in ultras, or at this point do you consider yourself pretty well-rounded?
That's a really good question. I don't race a lot, and so I just narrow in on whichever race looks and sounds the most scenic and rugged. I feel like I have not much time left. We'll probably be doing this, and so I become very selective about what I want to do. Yeah. So I'm only going to be running 2 races this year, and Hardrock just happened to be one of them. I'm so lucky. I don't know that I have a specialty. I just like the pretty ones. I like the low-key ones, and I like the rugged ones. I mean,
that's really, that anticipates one of the questions I was going to have for you, and that's like, you've run some really great races at a variety of distances, but in terms of really big stages, you've run Speed Goat, which is a local race for you, but then like the North Face 50 once.
Yeah.
So you really...
I mean, the hype doesn't really draw me. You know, I was actually at Western States pacing a friend a couple weeks ago and just looking at it, getting an idea of what people are drawn to, and I'm just not drawn to that. Yeah.
So it's not so much the competition here that draws you, it's the course?
It's the course, yeah, absolutely. I'm an incrementalist, and so, you know, doing my first 100 was a big deal, and so I've taken little baby steps towards more rugged courses as time has gone on, and I like challenging myself that way, and I think, yeah, I'm ready for Hardrock in that respect.
And what excites you most about this race?
The San Juans, man. We've come back year after year after year for some race or another, some excuse, and I think, like most people here, this terrain beats everything else. I love my Wasatch and I love where I come from, but this pales they pale in comparison to this. So,
now, have you had a chance to, you know, pace it all during the race, or?
Yeah, so last year, you remember, I was second on the wait list, so we had kind of a stressful week because my husband ran the race. And so I ended up not running, which turned out great because I got to pace Ben for 40 miles. And that was a schooling for sure.
How so?
Yeah. Well, I happened to be sick that day too, so it was hard keeping up with him. And then you know, I got to experience a little weather. I got to experience some frightening terrain in the middle of the night. Oscar's Pass is, you know, a little questionable.
It was dicey last year.
It was dicey, yeah, for sure. And so that was a great learning experience. It made me realize I probably wasn't quite ready last year. So I was, in retrospect, very glad I didn't.
That's a nice realization to make.
Very good, yeah.
I think you're not the first person to make that. I've definitely had that. Oh, I'm not ready for Hardrock yet.
Yeah.
Now, your husband Ben had a great race last year.
Yeah.
But was that last 40? Was he having a? I mean, did you get to see some suffering as well, Hardrock style?
I paced him from Grouse to Chapman.
Yep. Okay.
So not the last 40, but kind of the middle 40. No, that guy was a trooper. I don't know. I know it's hard to believe, but he really, even when we were lost, he's
up in Wasatch Basin.
Yep. Yeah. He was kind. He did not too frustrated. You know, he was great. He had a great.
Was that a good lesson and an inspiration, maybe?
My husband is always a good lesson and inspiration, for sure.
Now you're both running this year.
Yeah.
And you have a daughter.
Yeah.
And normally one kind of takes the reins, but you had to have figured this out last year.
We did. Yeah. You know, she happened to break her arm the week of the race too last year. So I, again, feel like last year it was not in the cards for us. The stars were not aligned. This year we actually have a dedicated daughter crew. So we've got a couple people who are going to take care of her. I don't think she'll be out on the course much.
No.
She's not super interested. So hopefully she'll be at the end. I'm hoping for that.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Now, you do race very selectively.
Yeah.
You ran Zane Grey?
I did, yeah.
And how'd that go for you?
It was good. It's just sort of solid. You know, I thought it would be more rugged than it was. There was a lot of running, and I guess I'm kind of over that.
I think you might be the only person to say that.
It felt like a lot of running compared to what I was prepared for. It was lovely, beautiful, and I had a good time running with some awesome women. Especially in the beginning, we had a great group of us. So that was fun. I'd call it solid. I didn't feel particularly inspired, you know, but it was good.
And how do you consider your fitness right now?
Good. Yeah, you know, my stoke for Hardrock is high. Yeah, so I've been pretty inspired. You know, I ski most winters, don't run much, and this year I skied most of the winter, and but I did start doing workouts earlier than normal. I usually don't start running till about March, and that was still the same, but I was doing some workouts and quality before that.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, I feel like my fitness is higher than it's been in years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you come to the San Juans for Hardrock and the beauty here,
yeah.
But there's also some really strong women.
Yeah.
Do you get into a little bit of competition mode, or?
I can.
Yeah.
I think with 100, it's been hard for me to do that. I've really just run my own race. Because it's too long to sustain a competitive drive. I lose that by about mile 40. And I just turn into kind of this smiley, happy thing who's just out there for the day.
That's not a bad perspective to have.
We'll see if that happens tomorrow. You know, I've only run 4 of these, but that's really been my MO for these 100-mile races. It's a little different for a 50 or something shorter.
But if you're out at Maggie or Cunningham and Emma's around,
we'll see. I haven't been in that situation yet. So I think
you've had kind of a gap in that lead.
Yeah. Usually. But trust me, there's a competitive girl inside of here.
Yeah, it's not all.
So we'll have to see what happens. But I'm just excited there's more and more competitive women out there. It makes me happy.
It's definitely one of the strongest women's field here at Hardrock. If not, and if Darcy BQ gets in off the wait list.
I know, that would be
fingers
ideal.
crossed. There's no question it's the best Hardrock women's field.
Yeah, fingers crossed for sure.
Yeah.
I feel for them having been in that position last year. It's not fun.
No, and there's not been a lot of movement on the wait list this year.
No, it's surprising. Even less than last year.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, what's your background with endurance sports and athletics?
My background.
Like, how long you been? Yeah.
Are you trying to get to know me?
It's the first interview. There's always a little get to know.
I know. Let's see. I did not grow up in a super athletic family. I started running mainly because I don't have a lot of coordination, I think. And so I started running in high school and made some of my best friends, you know, cross country team, track field, had some success. And then I did run in college. I ran D1, but it was a non-sponsor, what am I trying to say? Non-scholarship, there you go, situation. kind of half-assed, I would say. You know, liked it, but did it more for social reasons.
And what kind of distances were you running in?
I ran the half mile, if you can believe it, which did not
meters.
suit me. Right. I had my most success probably in cross country, actually, which makes more sense. But
that totally does.
Was a little on the lazy side and didn't like to run long, so I would do the half mile mostly. And then I married my husband, who loves running more than anything, and just to keep up with him, I started running more. And then I actually really found that I like long distance stuff. Moving to Salt Lake just solidified that. We found this great community there and great people, and yeah.
And you've been running ultra since like 2009 or so?
I'm trying to think. That was my first one. It was around when my daughter was born.
Okay.
I did go through a phase of marithoning. I forgot to mention that. That was in
road marathons.
Road marathoning. Yeah, that was in medical school.
A little stress release.
Stress release. It just gave me. I've always liked having a hobby.
Yeah.
You know.
And how did you fare on the roads there?
Not bad. I got injured a lot, and you know, it's hard to manage doing it with medical school. But I had one or two good road marathons when I was taking it seriously.
And what did you top out at?
I ran at 2:48, and that was pretty good. I think I could have probably run faster given my training, but I never had enough uninjured periods of time to do that, and that was really frustrating. So then when we moved to Salt Lake City, I just started running on the trails there, you know, like 3-4 in the morning before my rotations, and because I was an intern then. And that's when I never looked back. I haven't run on the roads hardly since.
And you mixed skiing in more recently, or when did that come?
Started moving to Utah.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible skier. I mean, I'm from Iowa, so there's no chance that I'd ever be good, but I love cross-country skiing. Just anything long and endurance-oriented. That's been really fun. So cross-country skiing, I've done a bit of skimo stuff. I have a lot of friends who do that.
Yeah, but
I'm not particularly graceful at that, but I love throwing myself into stuff like that during the winter.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck out there and enjoy the course.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Have a good time yourself.
Will do.
All right.